Okay, hello everyone, and welcome to Panic Free Public Speaking. And we'll just bring this up and we'll bring it up again. So, Panic Free Speaking, now I can. The magic of being you. I'm Laurie Smale, master speaking coach and inspirational speaker and author of How to Take the Panic Out of Public Speaking. Now, the author of the book, How to Take the Panic Out of Speaking, is the basis for this whole 10 session seminar. So it's all in there, and we're going to weave a bit of magic together. So thank you all for coming. Your precious time is not going to be wasted. Now, those little hitches at the beginning, hey, no one's perfect. So the important thing is we're going to get cracking and we're going to get things done. For those of you who don't know me, I'm a member of the Australian Society of Authors, and I've written 3 books. And the first one is Finding Me, Finding You, which is an exciting journey on overcoming insecurity and self-doubt. The next book is How to Be a Conversational Success, all about social sureness, feeling comfortable talking to others on social occasions. And Panic-Free Public Speaking over here is really a combination of that self-worth and social sureness brought up before a group of people so that they feel comfortable in your presence and believe you're talking to them personally. And really, that's the essence of it. Now, all those books are really a trilogy. The first one gets you right first. The next one gets you feeling comfortable with a group of people that aren't up on stage. And the third one shows you how to take yourself with that knowledge and that self-belief up before people. But we're going to really show you how to do that in this short half hour. These books are available online. Just go to my website there down below, that link. And this first book, Finding Me, Finding You, is also an audio book with me reading the book. I'm also have a presence online with my weekly inspirational quotes, my weekly magic minutes, which you've no doubt seen, little snippets of life, go for a minute to brighten up your day. My monthly articles just go a little bit more in depth, and my newsletter, also produce a newsletter, is available by email or on LinkedIn. Now, if you'd like to avail yourself of this information, easy. You just use the QR code there and you can link to my website. And all my online programs are over here with the appropriate link to them on just about all of them. If you want to follow me, subscribe to my newsletter, or notify me, you can do that quite easily here. You want to subscribe to my newsletter? LinkedIn there, or online down here. There's just a couple more little things. I acknowledge the traditional owners of the land on which we're based. And the slides and the video recording link will be emailed to all you participants. And please add any questions you have in the chat, and you can add your feedback or reviews in the chat or online. So, how to take the panic out of public speaking. People live with that for years. But you see, I used to be like that, and I've packaged it all. This is not just a staid, boring textbook. It's an experiential shift in thinking, a shift in your belief system that I can now do it. And I know why it's been scary. And we're going to unravel and peel away a lot of the mystery tonight. Now, many of you have got all sorts of experience. You're on the ladder of speaking confidence or speaking effectiveness. Some are at the beginning, a lower rung, some are right up at the top. But what I really appreciate that you folk have made the effort to be here. And I'm sure you'd agree with me that there's always rooms for some new insights. And what I do is different, and you'll discover that. And I'm going to hand you all my hard-earned wisdom on a platter. Going to give you that tonight. So that's where we're heading, because the first webinar was all about getting you right first. So you don't come up and stand in front of an audience and feel like a bit of an imposter, a bit of a fake and a fraud. No, I want you to believe that you've earned the right to be there. Session 2 was, it was getting your talk together, because a lot of people panic when they're tapped on the shoulder to speak, and they leave things to the last minute. No. We worked out a way so that you can cool, calm, and collected, get your ISD together and put together a nice talk long before you're supposed to give it, so you become familiar with it and it no longer frightens you. This webinar, session 3, we're going to show the magic of being you so that you can deliver it so people sit up and listen. Let me tell you about Bruce. Now, Bruce is a friend of mine, late 40s, but he'd lived with the absolute fear of public speaking all his life. And there he is. That's not actually Bruce, but it's a good depiction of him. He was absolutely terrified of public speaking, but he was okay elsewhere in his life. That was strange. But anything to do, he was just beside himself with fear. And he found himself in my fear-busting workshop this particular day. So, fear-busting workshop. So there we were, maybe about 50 people, all there for the same reason, all sort of scared, some more than others. So I gently got them to turn to the person next to you and share 3 things: who they are, what they're here for today, and what they hope to get out of it. I said, right, away you go. Whenever you want an audience to do something, lead them, or people love to be led. Just tell them, and, little click of the fingers, away you go, and they do it. And so they did that, no big problems. And then I said to them, okay, now that wasn't hard. Now what I want you to do is nothing more than what you've just done, and stand up, turn around, look at this room full of people all here to, not to frighten you, they're all here to grow along as you're here, and do the same thing. Who you are, what you hope to get out of today, and what you do with your time. When it was Bruce's turn, he was trembling all over. He was beside himself with fear. All he wanted to do was blurt out what he could. I helped him as best I could. And then he just sat down and he felt bad. About 10 minutes later, we stopped for a coffee break. And I couldn't see, I couldn't understand, I couldn't believe what I saw, this miraculous change in Bruce. What normally happens when we go for a break like this, we coalesce into little groups. He did that. He had about 3 people around him. And I looked out of the corner of my eye, and he was lauding it. He was holding court. And he was reliving something that happened at the cricket the weekend before. And they were all listening to him. And he said, Ponting hit the ball. He said, I went up in the air, and there was about 80,000 people there. He said, and I could see it coming, and it was coming towards us. And I thought, that's got my name written on it. And he said, I don't know why, but I sort of leapt out of my chair and grabbed the ball. He said, and 80,000 people went berserk. One of his listeners said to him, what did you do? He said, I just sheepishly threw the ball over the fence. And one of the fieldsmen gave me a thumbs up again, and the crowd went bananas again. He said, it's amazing that, a bit of spontaneity can take us places we never dreamed of. And I don't think I'll ever top that in my life. But yeah, have a bit of courage sometimes and just let it happen. Now, when they came and sat down again, I said to Bruce, why didn't we have that, Bruce, up here before when you're telling us who you are, what you do, and what you want to get out of? He said something remarkable. He said, I didn't know I could do that. Public speaking is one thing, but, just talking to friends like that is something completely different. I said, is it? Often we come across a speaker that gathers us in and has as part of their talk. And really, it is a two-way feel, a two-way conversation. That's what he did with his audience of 3 or 4 people around him that day. So what happened? What happened to Bruce to lose his abject fear so that by the end of that session, he could stand up in front of all those people and relive that cricket story to the whole group? And we loved it. And you know what he said? He said, yeah, I think I could do that. And he moved on from there. Remember, I knew him. And he moved on from there. And he could talk to other groups. And he took that cricket imprint with him. And he said, I know how to be me. But we're going to have a little close look at that, this how to be me, and what we're going to learn out of that. So let's just get out of that. We're going to learn what he learned. What he learned. There we are. Now we've got a little group of people here enjoying each other's company, just like Bruce did with those 3 people that he moved away with, chatting to each other, sharing a little bit about life, just as Bruce did. But what happens to this warmth and friendliness when we step up in front of these same people half the time? And we become a quivering wreck, or we're not as effective as we could be. Let's have a look at that. Let's have a look at Bruce's cricket talk. You see, what happens when we move away from a conversational setting like that, where we all feel comfortable, what we do, we leave 3 fundamental elements of conversation behind. They are seeing, hearing, and feeling. Let's just go to that cricket story for a minute. Because in your mind's eye, we see things. Could you see the MCG where Bruce was? The beautiful greenness of the field, all those people around him, the atmosphere, Ponting and the team in their white far away, but you could hear that ball hit it. Could you hear it? Could you hear the roar of the crowd? Here's a secret, because we're going to eavesdrop. Now, I don't use that word lightly. I use it purposefully, because when we can get our listeners to eavesdrop, and eavesdrop means actually listening to someone else talking. So we've got to put talking into an example somewhere in a presentation. Otherwise, people are going to get bored. It's just boring facts and figures. We've got to bring it to life. Let's keep eavesdropping now. I'm going to use that word a lot. Eavesdropping. You've got to make your listeners eavesdrop on your talk. Did you hear Bruce when he was thinking out loud? He said, and I saw the ball coming and had my name written on it. I don't know. I just leapt up and caught it. And then someone else said, just like what happened in a real conversation, he said, what did you do? He said, I sheepishly threw the ball over the fence. He said the crowd went berserk again. And those 50 people were eavesdropping on my explanation of what we just seen with Bruce. I said, you all can do that. You do it. You do it whenever you have a little conversation with people or share something that happened with a loved one. I'm giving you permission to incorporate that into your talk. I was talking to a guy not long back, and he said he had to give a talk. So this shows you can do it in a business presentation too. Yeah, I've got to give a talk. He said, I'm all right once I get past the first 2 minutes. He said, I've been doing it for years. I'm fine then. But that first 2 minutes, he said, I struggle. And I said, here's a trick. I said, I'll sort that out for you in the next minute. I said, people are sitting down in their chairs thinking, let's check this guy out. He's had a pretty interesting introduction. Let's see how good he is if he lives up to it. And then you come out there full of adrenaline and scared. You're trying to get through that 2 minutes. Put the pressure on them instead. So when I talk about public speaking, this is what people hear from me. I say, let's do a little survey here. Okay, my heart's pumping like hell, right? But they don't know that. I say, let's do a little survey here. Who here has ever felt the slightest bit scared when you've been tapped on the shoulder and asked to speak? Where's the pressure now? It's on them. And they're scared because they might be said, singled out by me. But I wouldn't do that. But they don't know that. And they all agree, and I get them to put their hands up just a little bit. You put your hand up halfway, and they do too. And then I'll let them off the hook. And I say, I'm glad I'm not the only one. And then I'm through that 2 minutes. He said, that's brilliant. I bumped into him about 4 weeks later. I said, how did it go? He said, worked like magic. So remember, when you open a talk, always use a universal opening that people can't help but agree with. And you got them. But then let them off the hook. Let them know that you're in the boat too. So let's lock this into place. I'm going to tell you another story. And I want you to focus on the seeing, hearing, and oh, there it is. And feeling aspects of this. I want you to watch for the pictures in this talk. I want you to listen to the conversations. That is, I want you to eavesdrop on this little happening. I want you to be a fly on the wall. I want you to feel it. So, when I was about 15, 1962, I was riding my bike to the factory where I worked. And I just won $50, 1952, in Tats, which was like a forerunner of Lotto. That was a lot of money for a 15-year-old lad. But I'd seen a wooden crate thing with all these boxes, carton boxes of Golden Circle fruit salad. I thought, boy, I'm going to buy a whole box of them. I've got the money now. And to me, that was just like heaven. Absolute heaven. And in fact, the title of this course called Pineapple Paradise. And so I went up to the guy, parked my bike, and I said to the guy, look, I like to buy one of those cartons of the 3 dozen tins of tropical fruit salad. He said, look, mate, I'm sorry, but we're wholesalers. We don't sell it to the public. We only sell it to grocery shops, supermarkets. We'd have just started at that stage. You could see I was crestfallen. I had my heart set on that. He said, look, I'll tell you what I'll do. He said, I'll break the rules. He said, but, it's going to cost you money. I said, don't worry about that. I've just won $50. He said, all right, I'll give it to you half. You give me $20 of that. He said, the box is worth about 50. And he said, you can have it. I said, great. So he helped me out to my bike with this huge big cart with 3 dozen tins of it, put it on the bike, tied it up, put a board underneath, and I wheeled it home. When I say home, I was in a boarding house just around the corner. 15 years, I was on my own already. I had a single mum, and she was a bit of a battler, but there I was working in the factory. But I snuck round the corner, didn't want Mrs. Cosbrock to see what I was taking in, took a lend of a tin opener on the way through, put it under the bed, and boy, locked the door. And I couldn't wait. I opened the first tin, and it never hit the sides going down. It was just absolute heaven. At lunchtime, I had another one. That evening before dinner, I had another one. And this went on for about 4 days. By about the 7th day, I couldn't stand the stuff. I would never have believed it in a million years. I tried to give it away to my friends. They said, "What's wrong with it?" I said, "Nothing's wrong with it." I said, I came into some money and I bought it. "Yeah, but what's the use by date?" And I said, "Oh, forget it." So I went and took it home to mum. I think I still had nearly 2 dozen tins left. And I said, "Mum, I bought this for you." She said, "You're a really kind boy." Little did she know that if they all tasted like the first one, I would have wolfed them all down and not shared them with anyone. So there's a message there. You live and you learn. So, did you see the pictures that I created then? Did you see that young lad on his bike go in there with his heart set on getting this? Did you hear me talking to him? "Look, I'd like to buy a box of all those things." "Sorry, mate, but we're a wholesaler. We can't do that." "Oh, look, I've got the money." "And did you eavesdrop on that? Were you a fly on the wall? Did you see me going, sneaking it in? Did you feel, me glugging it down and saying, 'Oh, this is fantastic'? You weren't worrying about whether I was being perfect or using the right word or the right grammar. You were part of the talk." You can do that. Just like Bruce did. You might be thinking at this point, "Yeah, but this might be all right on a social occasion where you tell a few stories, but what about a real business presentation?" Well, let's have a look at that. Let's have a look at that. I'm just trying to find these computers are funny sometimes. Oh, yes. Every time I tell a little story, I have a little formula. I showed you that in the last webinar. Always have a catchy heading for your talk. Pineapple paradise. Always start your talk with a universal question. Have you ever had your heart set on something and it hadn't turned out exactly the way you thought it would be? Got them in. Right, get through that first minute or two. Then you relive the happening from memory. I didn't write it down. I just relived it. Every time I would relive it, it'd be ever so slightly different. It lives, it breathes. And make a point. You live, you learn. Okay? So you've got that little formula too. So, business presentation, it works. Let me give you an example. Not long back, I was at quite a large networking, and I got networking gathering, and I was talking to a mortgage broker, and she got up to speak, but she um, she wasn't like she was talking to me. She sort of struggled, and they drifted away. And then she said, "Look, I'm sorry, but I was going to tell you a story, but I've run out of time." And we was pricked up. We started to eavesdrop because we got some dialogue. We were craving for it. At long last, we got it. And then she went on and told us about this couple. This man said, "Look, we've got an absolute maze of a problem. We need help. We don't know where to begin. Can you help us?" And she said, "Sure, I can." And then she told us the story. She got us to eavesdrop, to be a fly on the wall as she sat them down at the table and she moved this over there and then that over there and helped them with this, that, and the other. And we could see how competent she was because the story told us. Whereas the first part, she was just telling us the nuts and bolts of being a mortgage broker. Nearly put us to sleep. This didn't. So allow your speakers to eavesdrop on your talk, but you've got to put some talking in there to let them eavesdrop on it, because that's what we eavesdrop on. Your reading for next month's talk is dealing with the stumbling blocks that hold us back. Dealing with the stumbling blocks that hold us back. And I'd like you to read it, the pages in your book, page 71 to 103. It's about 30 pages, all right? And next week, and there we are, dealing with the common stumbling blocks that holds back, like what do I do with my hands? What if I go red? What if I go blank? All those people staring at me. People worry about these things for a lifetime. I'll let it fade away like so much mist next month when you join me again. Just get your hands on that book by hook or by crook, online or in your favourite bookstore. It can make a difference to you. Another web link up here that you can find out more about my websites. There he is, going through them again. Here we are. And look, I've got to say a big thank you to you. A lot of work goes into these things. In fact, a lifetime of work of coaching people. And if you've got something you'd like to share, I'd love to hear it. A review, Google, Facebook, online. Yeah. And that'll be fine. So let's just see if there's, I think, on chat. Oh, yes, we do have something there. Let's just have a look at this. Hadil, hello. Messages, just meet group chat. Yeah. Let's just go down. Oh, yeah, no, that's fine. So look, it's been absolutely fantastic. You can see I've got a lifetime of things to share. I just want you to know that we've all had a journey. We've all had a journey of trials, tribulations, laughter, tears, happiness, sadness. We can't change that, but we can change where we go. I've had my share of that. I used to be scared of all this stuff. Not anymore. So with that in mind, let me say the following. I'm Laurie Smale, a humble master speaking coach who's earned the right to say that because I've been doing it for 40 years. And I look forward to helping you overcome those stumbling blocks that hold you back when it comes to public speaking, because they're unwarranted and you've taken them on board. They're part of your belief system, and we've got to get rid of them. And we'll do that in our next mind-opening session. Can we meet again?